slavery and why we shouldn't be able to remove statues of um, founding fathers that had slaves.
I mean, slavery, for the people who are wanting to cancel Thomas Jefferson and George Washington because they had slaves and everybody else in an era when everyone had slaves who could afford it,
Right.
including people of color in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
It was a human thing.
Yeah.
It's not just a white thing.
Though the cattle slavery of the United States was a whole lot different than um, what was going on in other parts of the world. But this isn't about what was going on in other parts of the world. This is about what was going on in America. And saying, oh, well, other people were doing this in other parts of the world, so it's justified in the United States to be doing this. Though that is not like, I know a lot of right wingers love to try to use that justification, but it's not a justification whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're going to cancel Jefferson and Washington, you have to cancel Jesus because he never spoke against it. It's not in the Old Testament. There's a million rules about slavery. None of them are, don't do it.
Well, this seems like more of a case against the Bible than a case against removing statues of slavers. Yeah, the Bible has rules for slavery. It condones slavery. There's many passages like what the curse of Ham by Noah in the Bible is supposed to be about Ham turning one of his kids black and into a slave to his other kin, and that is supposed to be like a justification as to why black people were justified to be enslaved because they had the mark of Ham. The mark of Cain was also claimed to be a reason why black people were black and why they should be enslaved. Um, yeah, and then you got a ton of rules in the Old Testament about how to treat enslaved people. You can't, if you beat them and they die, you're supposed to get in trouble. But if you beat them and they survive, then it's totally okay. And back in the founding times, that's something that they used to justify, being able to beat black people. Oh, well, I beat him, but he didn't die. And the Bible says that's what I can do.
And the reason is because it literally didn't cross their minds. No one ever says in either testament, what about we just don't do it at all?
But it's funny how Bill Maher is supposed to be like um, non-religious and like on the left, but he's making a full-hearted right-wing argument against the removal of like racist statues and totally supports racism. And it seems like he's kind of in favor of slavery.
What? Don't do it at all. Well, who's going to schlep the big stones over to
Yeah.
the. I mean,
Who's going to move the stones? I mean, workers. Like in Egypt, they had a ton of workers to move all the stones around and build the pyramids. They were paid in like beer and salt and other things that they would then trade. You don't like need slaves to build a society, and there is no justification for slavery whatsoever, nor is there a justification for the worship of people that enslaved others.